Hi, good morning. We are from TG3 Group D, and today we'll be presenting about the possible solution and legal remedies for the issue that have been mentioned. The solution in this case is first, review the terms of letter of credit. The terms of letter of credit specify the conditions and requirements that are agreed upon by the issuer, beneficiary, and applicant involved in this transaction. This review is crucial in understanding the obligation and responsibilities of each party have been involved in this case. In this case, which is ATC, should carefully review the terms of the letter of credit that have been provided by Bersatu Bank and Hong Kong Bank to identify any specific requirements that they fail to meet. This will assist in determining any potential breaches that there are legal implications. The second solution in this case is document inaccuracies. The meaning of documents inaccuracies refers to the existence of error, mistakes in written records or official papers. It suggests that the documents contains information that is not completely correct or precise. In this case, ATC should gather evidence and demonstrate the inaccuracies in the documentation that have been provided by Hong Kong Bank, such as the changes made to the bill of loading and the unauthorized signing of the certificate of origin. This evidence will be crucial in supporting ATC's claims of non-compliance. The third solution in this case is the breach of contractual obligation. A breach of contractual obligation occurs when one party fails to fulfill the terms and conditions that are agreed upon in legally binding contract. These can include failure to perform specific duties or obligation, that refusal to fulfill the payment and agreements, or even failure to meet certain quality of time commitments. And referring to this case, ATC can argue that both Bersatu Bank and Hong Kong Bank have breached their contractual obligation, which means under the letter of credit, by failing to the honor in terms. They can even seek legal remedies for these breaches, such as damages to compensate for any financial losses that have been suffered as a result. Finally, the solution in this case is non-compliance with UCP 600. UCP 600 refers to a party that involved in international trade transaction that have been failed to adhere to the rules and regulations outlined in the Uniform Customs and Practice for documentary credits. 600 revision, which is UCP 600, is an international set of trade finance guidelines that provides rule of issuing and negotiating letters of credit. In the other hand, the trade finance instrument as well. The failure of both banks to comply with the requirements of the UCP 600 may give rise to legal claims against them. Regarding the issue in this case, ATC can argue that their non-compliance contributed to the denial of the payment and seek appropriate legal remedies in this case. Last but not the least, the solution that can be applied in this case is the notice of discrepancies. A notice of discrepancies refers to a document or communication that highlights the inconsistencies or differences that have been found in a particular situation, record, or even data set. It is typically sent by an individual or even an organization to notify others party about the presence of these inconsistencies and to request the clarification or even to make a correction. As per Article 16 of the UCP 600, as I mentioned before, ATC should have been given the notice of any discrepancies in the documentation and even a chance to rectify them. If the bank is failed to provide such notice, the ATC may have grounds to challenge their decision to refuse the
Forgery of Certificate of Origin. ATC can argue that the forgery of the Certificate of Origin is a significant disparity and a violation of the terms of the letter of credit. This may strengthen their case against Hong Kong Bank and increase the likelihood of a successful legal claim. Letter of credit, which is more known as LC, is a financial document issued by a bank on behalf of a buyer applicant to guarantee payment to a seller beneficiary upon the fulfillment of certain conditions. The LC sets out specific terms and conditions that must be met for the payment to be made. Secondly is the Certificate of Origin. A Certificate of Origin is a document that verifies the country of origin of goods being exported. It provides evidence to the buyer that the goods being purchased were produced in the specified country. Possibility of insurance claim. ATC should explore the possibility of filing an insurance claim to recover the money owed to them. If they have an appropriate insurance policy in place, it can provide an alternative avenue of obtaining compensation. Insurance policy. ATC should assess whether they have an appropriate insurance policy in place that covers the specific risk associated with international trade transactions such as fraudulent activities or non-compliance with LC terms. The insurance policy may include provisions for financial losses resulting from such incidents. Secondly is policy coverage. ATC should review the terms and conditions of their insurance policy to determine if the forgery of a certificate of origin falls within the scope of covered risk. This will depend on the specific wording and provisions of the policy. Assessing liability of Bersatu Bank, ATC should consider whether Bersatu Bank can be held liable for its acts in issuing the letter of credit. If there were limitations or misinterpretations in the assurances provided by the bank, ATC may be able to pursue legal actions against them to recover the funds. Duty of care. Banks have a duty of care to exercise reasonable skill, care, and diligence in handling letter of credit transactions. This includes verifying the authenticity and compliance of the presented document with the letter of credit terms. Limitations or misinterpretations. ATC should carefully review the terms and conditions of the letter of credit, as well as any other related communications with Bersatu Bank to identify any limitations or misinterpretations in the assurances provided by the bank. For example, if the bank failed to conduct proper due diligence or made false statement regarding their verification process, it may indicate a breach of their duty of care. Evaluating STW's financial problems. ATC should investigate whether Bersatu Bank had knowledge of STW's financial problems and the likelihood of its failure when issuing the letter of credit. This information may be relevant in determining the bank's responsibility and in pursuing legal remedies. Banks' due diligence. Banks have a responsibility to conduct due diligence with issuing an letter of credit. This includes assessing the creditworthiness and financial stability of the beneficiary, which is the seller, before issuing the letter of credit. The bank should have reasonable knowledge about the financial health of the beneficiary. Secondly is the knowledge of financial problems. ATC should investigate whether Bersatu Bank had knowledge or should have had knowledge of STW's financial problems at the same time of issuing the letter of credit. This investigation could involve reviewing financial records, news reports, industry information, or any other relevant sources to determine if the bank had access to information about STW's financial difficulties. Consult legal counsel. ATC should consult with an experienced commercial or international trade lawyer to assess the strength of their case, understand their legal rights, and determine the most appropriate course of action to pursue against Bersatu Bank and Hong Kong Bank. Expert legal advice. Commercial or international trade lawyers specialize in the relevant legal areas and have expertise in dealing with complex trade disputes, banking matters, and contractual issues. They can provide a comprehensive assessment of ATC's case, considering the specific circumstances, relevant laws, and legal precedents. Case evaluation. A lawyer can review the available evidence such as the letter of credit, forged certificate of origin, correspondence, and any relevant documents to evaluate the strength of ATC's case. They can identify legal claims and defenses, assess the viability of pursuing legal action, and provide an estimation of potential outcomes. Legal rights and obligations. Understanding their legal rights and obligations is crucial for ATC to make informed decisions. A lawyer can explain the applicable laws, contractual obligations, and potential remedies available to ATC. They can also help ATC navigate the complexities of international trade law and banking regulations.
Next, when dealing with a complicated international legal dispute, ATC can consider mediation or arbitration as alternative ways to resolve the issue. These methods are faster and more cost-effective compared to going to court and can lead to an agreement that both parties find acceptable. Mediation involves a natural third party helping the parties communicate and negotiate to find a solution that they are both happy with. Arbitration involves a natural third party called an arbitrator who listens to both sides and makes a final decision that both parties have to follow. Both mediation and arbitration can help maintain business relationship and prevent further harm to the parties' reputation. By considering this alternative dispute resolution option, ATC can save time and find a resolution that works for them. As we can see, ATC may consider negotiating a compromise to resolve the conflict between the two banks. By engaging in negotiation, ATC can try to find a solution that satisfies both parties, which may help avoid expensive and lengthy legal proceedings. This approach recognizes the importance of open communication and finding common ground, leading to a mutually beneficial outcome. Negotiation allows for flexibility and creativity as parties can explore different options and come up with innovative solutions that may not be possible through litigation. By considering negotiation to reach a compromise, ATC shows its commitment to find solutions that work for everyone involved and prioritize their best interest. Moving on the next slide, if ATC finds it difficult to take legal action against Bersatu Bank and Hong Kong Bank to recover the own fund, it will be wise for them to explore other avenues of getting paid. One option could be to ask STW or other related parties directly for payment. By looking at more possibilities, ATC improves their chances of successfully getting the money back quickly and efficiently. It is important for ATC to try all available options instead of relying solely on legal action against the bank. By considering alternative sources, ATC can adjust their strategy to the specific situation and increase the likelihood of a positive outcome. This proactive approach shows that ATC is determined to get their own funds, protecting their financial interests, and possibly minimizing any negative effects caused by delayed payment. The look on the procedures. ATC needs to strengthen its procedures for checking documents to make sure they follow the terms of the letter of credit. To do this, ATC should carefully review and enhance its internal processes for reviewing and verifying documents. This will help prevent similar problems from happening again in the future. It is important to have reliable methods in place for carefully examining all relevant documents, making sure that they are accurate and meet the specified requirements. This proactive approach will not only prevent similar mistakes, but also make ATC's operations more efficient and overall. Additionally, providing regular training for staff involved in the documentation process will reinforce the importance of compliance and give them the skills to identify any potential issues effectively. By continuously improving its procedures for document compliance, ATC can become a trustworthy organization. It is crucial for ATC to monitor and stay updated on any legal developments or changes that pertain to international trade practices, regulations concerning letters of credit, or banking laws. Being well informed about such legal matters is essential as it enables ATC to understand how these developments may potentially affect the specified case and also explore any additional legal remedies that may be available. By remaining vigilant and proactive in keeping track of any legal updates, ATC can ensure that they are well prepared and able to navigate the ever-changing landscape of international trade and banking regulations.
Based on question B, I would like to present the solution to legal issues. Let's see the first legal issue. Inconsistency in shipping documents. ATC should ensure that the bill of lading reflects the correct terms as stated in the letter of credit. They can rectify this issue by presenting a new bill of lading with the correct term freight. In shipping, the bill of lading is an important document that outlines the terms and conditions of transportation for goods. It should accurately reflect the terms mentioned in the letter of credit, which is a payment guarantee from the buyer's bank to the seller. However, if there is an inconsistency in the terms mentioned in the bill of lading and the letter of credit, the shipping company or ATC should rectify the issue in the case the correct term freight. So, prepared needs to be presented in a new bill of lading, ensuring that the transportation charges have already been paid by the shipper and are not the responsibility of the recipient. So, this will be elegant the shipping documents and resolve the inconsistency. Second legal issue is lack of official sanction from Hong Kong Customs. ATC should obtain an official certification or endorsement from Hong Kong Customs for the certificate of the origin. This will ensure that the documents fulfill the requirements of the letter of credit. Without an official certificate or endorsement from Hong Kong, origin obtained by ATC may not be recognized or accepted by the letter of credit requirements. It is important for ATC to obtain this official sanction to ensure the document meets the necessary criteria. Third legal issue about presentation made after the credit expiration. ATC should ensure that all documentation is submitted within the validity period of the letter of credit. They should specify timeline and submit all required documents within 15 days of delivery to avoid breaching the terms of the credit. When conducting international trade, letters of credit are commonly used as a payment mechanism that provides security and assurance to both the buyer and the seller. The party responsible for the presentation of documents, the advising and confirming bank ATC must submit all required documents within the specified timeline set for the credit. Failure to do so can result in severe consequences for both parties. Timely document submission is crucial as it ensures compliance with contractual obligation, avoids minimize risk, and build trust and relationship. ATCs must specify timeline to avoid breaching the terms of the credit. The fourth legal issue is non-review of inconsistencies. By issuing and advising bank, ATC should try to rectify any inconsistency or deviation in the shipping documents, certificate of origin and presentation made. If the deviations are considered significant, the issuing bank may refuse to waive them. ATC should work with all parties involved to address and rectify these issues. The non-review of inconsistency means that the bank responsible for issuing and advising the letter of credit should make efforts to correct any discrepancies or variation found in the shipping documents and certificate of origin. If these deviations are seen as substantial, the issuing bank has the right to reject them and refuse to overlook them. So the bank should collaborate with all relevant parties to resolve and fix these problems. The final legal issue is about legal action and against parties involved. If the banks refuse to make payment and ATC believe that the other parties involved have breached the contract, lied or act improperly, they may consider filing a lawsuit. ATC should consult with an experienced attorney to explore their legal options and determine the most appropriate course of action. They may seek repayment or compensation from the relevant corporation and their senior executives. As a conclusion, it is important to note that the specific details of the transaction and the applicable laws may have an impact on the recommended solution. It is very advisable for ATC to consult with a legal professional who can provide tailored advice based on their specific circumstance. Thank you.